Yes, guys, welcome to another episode of the Callumdunlopfitness podcast, and I am joined with my friend Ben Coen today. And it's interesting on how we actually connected, Ben. It was through social media. I came across one of your videos that just resonated with me so much, and I feel like we have a lot of similarities. And I thought I just need to get this guy on the podcast ASAP and dive straight into it. So, welcome.
Thanks a million, Callum. I've been watching your videos a good while now, and I love the message you spread, so it's an absolute pleasure to be on with you today.
Thank you so much, and I'm excited to get into this conversation because I know we've been back and forth off camera, and even just before this today, and there's some exciting stuff that I'm looking forward to hear. So, the way I usually just start these off is just tell me a little bit more about where you're from and where it all began.
No bother, yeah. So I grew up in a small town in the south of Ireland, Tipperary town. Was always a popular enough kid growing up. A large group of friends, but I think in Ireland with this, it brings a lot of underage drinking from a very young age. So look, I know you know yourself, drinking culture in Ireland and England is massive at the moment. And we'd finish school on a Friday evening, and the priority would be get pissed, unfortunately. Lot of smoking weed and drinking through school from about 15 or 16 onwards. Managed to make it into college in 2019, studied social care, and this is where drinking and smoking weed got out of control, to be honest. Drinking about 4 to 5 times a week for about 3 years, which sounds crazy to say out loud, but unfortunately that's the case for the majority of young people going to college or university. So, as I said, a lot of drinking and smoking weed for about 3 years, and January 2021, I hit rock bottom for the first time in my life. I was left completely anxious, depressed, in my own mind, and left with a lot of irrational suicidal thoughts. Thankfully, I had a great support from family at this time, and without that, I wouldn't know where I'd be today, to be honest. But unfortunately, Callum, I didn't learn my lesson at this time. I stayed off the drink and weed for about 6 weeks and felt I was ready to get back on it and fell straight back into my old habits. For a further year and 8 months, nearly 2 years after my 23rd birthday, I said, fuck this, enough is enough, and I haven't drank since. I am currently 11 months sober,
Same.
spreading awareness on mental health and alcohol use across my Instagram, and slowly but surely becoming the best version of myself I can.
I absolutely love to hear that. And listening to your story, it just sounds too similar to myself.
100%.
In all the bad habits, not learning the lessons, hitting rock bottom, not
Yeah.
once, not twice, maybe three times for me. But
Thank
yeah, let's kind of dive a little bit deeper into that then. So, um, tell me a little bit more about what it was. When was that one time where you knew? Obviously, I know you hit rock bottom the first time. In fact, let's actually talk about that because this is something that so many people that I speak to when I try to explain to them about why I really had to go sober, they never understand. They're like, "Oh, why can't you have one drink or two and just like
Yeah.
go home and stuff?" And it's like you just don't understand what it's like for someone like
No.
myself. And I remember it got to the stage where I that's why your content really resonated with me was I realized that I kept thinking that I could drink and live the life that my friends were living and trying to keep up
Exactly.
with them. And that's when I really knew that there was a moment, right, this has to change. I've tried to do this sober thing like three times now, and I keep going back to the old habits. So tell me a little bit more about that first time you said you didn't learn your lesson. What made you think that it was going to be okay to kind of go back into that world again?
So I think, look, I was only 21, 22 years of age. I think it was mostly the fear of missing out. I didn't know life without getting pissed on the weekends. I didn't go to the gym. I didn't go for walks. I didn't read books. I didn't do anything but get pissed on the weekend. I'd work, go to college, and get pissed. So I feel like it was the fear of missing out. I was the only one out of my friends that I know of that would struggle mentally after drinking and smoking weed.
Yeah.
So I think I went 6 weeks and it was pure boredom. I said to my mother, I remember saying to her, I think I'm ready to go out again. And she was obviously saying no, no, I don't think so. I went on it, and it's so easy to slip back into the old habit. Once you go out that one Saturday night, you think, fuck it, I'm able for this, and next thing you know, you're out the next 6 weeks in a row, and you're back to square one again. So I think as a young person, 21, 22, it was the complete fear of missing out and simply not knowing any different than drinking.
100%, and I resonate with that so much because I feel like so I've lived in obviously Ireland, and then I came to England, and I when when I moved here, I thought, oh, it's not going to be as bad as here as Ireland, and it's just
Yeah.
as bad. But I feel like in this culture, because I've got quite a lot of friends who are from like Europe, South America, and stuff, and like drinking is a thing there, but they drink to enjoy the drink with a nice glass of wine with dinner, whereas we just drink here to get blackout drunk. And I feel like
Exactly.
in the UK especially, if you don't drink, if I feel like there's not a lot of options to then hang out with your friends, so then it's like you kind of feel like you are missing out on a lot of things, or you get people are saying like, oh, what, why are you being weird? But it's like I'm not, like I just need to look after myself, you know. So
Exactly.
tell me a little bit more then about obviously you went back into the world of the bad habits, kept going again, and then when was like that turning point when you said to yourself, right, enough is enough, like I really need to change.
So I always kind of think this to myself, like there was no one moment where I was like, right, this is it. It was just a continuous moment. Every Sunday or every Monday morning, I'd wake up and think, how the fuck have I done it again? I would actually listen to like sobriety podcasts and sobriety TikToks from Monday to Thursday. And then Thursday, I kind of get the itch to go on it again, and I say, fuck it. And I go out Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And it was like me, like yourself, Callum. I couldn't have one drink. I'd have the one drink, and next thing you know, I'd be coming home 2 days later, and I'd spend all my wages. So I feel like it was a continuous, like, moments over time that really made me think I can't do this anymore, and I just have to start looking after myself.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more then about so when you made that change, the circle of friends who you had at that current time, how did they react with you when you decided that you wanted to change and you weren't going to start coming out as much as you used to?
Yeah, look, to be honest, I feel like it wasn't a massive shock to them because they were probably sick of me, sick of hearing me every week saying, I'm done with the drink, I'm off it now, I'm off it. I remember they actually used to tell me, just stop saying you're off it because you're not going to stay off it. So they were probably sick of me hearing it. But look, I feel like it was hard for them to take for the first. I remember thinking the first 2 to 3 months, I was still getting pressured into drinking, especially the first 2 months. They couldn't understand why I'm stopping, or I suppose, look, no one knows the severity of what's going on in your own mind, and I suppose that's my fault for not sharing it as I should. But look, it's easier said than done, isn't it? But look, they're taking it surprisingly well now. But it does take 2 to 3 months to get people's respect. And I think once you go past the 3 month mark, people think, oh, look, this fella's actually serious about what he wants to do, and we're going to respect it. But
100%.
I've been lucky enough not to lose friends over this period of time. But yeah, so I'm lucky in that way.
I have this saying that I always say. I feel like when for me anyway, and this was a little bit of my experience, was when you stop drinking, the phone stops ringing, and that was for me. And I really feel like when you kind of quit drinking and stuff, you realize that who your real mates really are because everyone is your mate when they've got a beer in their hand or you're out in a night out
100%.
telling you how much they love you and oh you're the best bro and all this. But when times really get tough and you want to like do something with your life and yeah you may want to separate yourself from the circle that you were friends with but this that doesn't mean that you can't be friends with them people anymore because obviously there's a lot of things that you can do in life that doesn't involve alcohol but the people who
Exactly.
still check in see how you're doing and want to spend time with you when it's not in like a social drinking situation I really do believe that they are your people for sure and it's a really hard thing to do because I feel like there's some people who just won't understand and it will be a hard pill for them to swallow but sometimes I feel like in this situation when if they ever say negative things towards you from my personal experience so far, it's like they're only throwing that negativity at you because they're doing something that they are already thinking in their head that they really should do, but they just can't do it yet. And
100%.
yeah, I don't know if you've experienced that as well.
Definitely. Like, I feel like it's very easy to lose respect for people. I remember the first 6 weeks when I stopped drinking. I think it was week 6 because I'm a killer for like counting week by week. So I was in a pub probably the first time since I stopped drinking, and I can still pinpoint the lads that were kind of forcing me to have a pint. And now, of course, I didn't, but it's very easy to lose respect for people like that. And I do think they're the same lads that are deep down are struggling with probably a drinking problem or mental health problems, and they get some sort of relief from seeing me break and drink a pint.
100%. It makes them feel
Yeah,
better about their own situation.
exactly. Yeah,
There's so many times in this like throughout this experience for me. I don't know if you can resonate with this, but I just feel like I have this little devil sitting on my shoulder, a little Callum devil telling me, "Oh, Callum, it's okay. Like, you know, one drink won't hurt. Like, you can go back to doing it again." And then when you start to listen to these people, especially who, for me, it's like I've grown up with, I've spent so much time with in my life, and I have also had a lot of trust for, and they're telling me it's going to be okay, but I just know that in my mind I have to really trust myself. It's and know if I want to go to the next level in my life and do the things that I know I'm capable of doing, like I have to just like cut off that little voice, because I just feel like it's something I will be brutally honest. I've never really actually said this, but I feel like this podcast is the right setting to say it's the biggest fear that I probably ever have in my life is going back to that situation, because it's like I don't even know what I would do, and having to drag myself out of the hole of doing it all again, it would just be like wow. Because I don't know if you resonate with this as well. I like going and looking at my old photos or my old videos of back in the day, and I'm just like, wow.
100%. Like, even to this day, I nearly say on a daily basis, I bring myself back to how I felt when I hit that rock bottom. Because, as you said, devil on the shoulder, I still, even when a Friday night comes around now, I think the sun is shining, and I think to myself, could I not just go out and have a few pints? But deep down, I know that I can't. I will never be able to have a few pints. I can never have one or two drinks. It's all or nothing. Binge drinking, complete binge drinker, and that's just how it is. And yeah, I think first step is accepting that you can't just have a few pints.
One
Do you
hundred percent,
know?
100%, and it's the having that honest word with yourself, and just knowing that, because I really do believe in life. One of the only things that we really have is the word and the promise that you have to yourself. So when you keep telling yourself, "Oh, I need to stop drinking. I need to stop doing all these bad habits that are put me in the place I don't want to be," and then you go and do it, and then you're just like,
Yeah,
"Oh, I'm back here again," and it just keeps building
yeah,
these little negative defeats in your mind, and it really does
exactly.
destroy your confidence. But then, enough of the negativity. If you turn it on the other side, which I feel like we are both definitely doing right now, is when you're actually keeping to your words, saying that you're going to do, sorry, doing the things that you say you're going to do. It's just going to help your confidence skyrocket and know that you've made the right decision, and this is the best thing for you.
100%. It's just building that resilience within yourself. Like, as you said, look, if you're going against your own word on a weekly basis, which I was, like, how can you have trust in yourself? Like, I had no trust in myself because I was lying to myself every single week, waking up on a Monday morning, right, this is it, I'm not going to do it again. And as I said, Thursday rolls around and I'm straight back into it again. So, look, I couldn't trust myself, so I was going to make no progress in life. Like,
100%. So I want to just go back to when you were talking about the rock bottom, because I have this beautiful saying, and I tell myself it all the time, where I genuinely believe there is something actually beautiful about hitting rock bottom. And I genuinely believe sometimes as a man, the sooner we hit rock bottom, the better, because you really can't go any lower. And two, the only way is up. And you've got two options when you hit rock bottom. You can sit there and have the victim mentality of feeling sorry for yourself and keep making the excuses of why it was happening, blaming everyone else. Or you reflect and do the inner work and realize that it really is your fault, and you know you've been dealt a set of cards now that you know that this is exactly what you shouldn't do with your life, and you need to start putting the things in practice that you know that you want to do to kind of push yourself forward. So tell me a little bit more about like when you hit the rock bottom, what was like your protocol for trying to get back to the mentality of where you know that you are capable of being?
Yeah, so look, the first time, as I said, in 2021, when I hit rock bottom, full of anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, I went straight to the shed out the back, lifting weights, and I think you kind of have to work on the physical first, and that really gives you the momentum to work on other things. So it started in the gym, and since then I've been actively going to the gym. Look, it's not my priority, but it's one of them things I have to check off every single day to feel the way I do feel. If I go 2 to 3 days without going to the gym, I can really feel it inside. I feel full of anxiety and overthinking. So it's just building them things you have to do, daily habits every single day. But as you said, I feel like it's very important for a man or a woman to hit rock bottom. And thankfully, like myself and yourself, we've hit it at a young age. I always say to myself, by the time I'm 30, I will be so resilient. I will know where I want to go in life. I will know what I have to do to feel good in life. So thankfully, it happened to me early. I actually thank my past every day because without the anxiety, without the depression, without the suicidal thoughts, I wouldn't be on here speaking to you today on a podcast about sobriety. So it's hard not to be thankful for it.
Absolutely, and I just love that mindset. That's going to take you big places in life, and will take you far because that's the thing. It's you you have to be grateful for the things that have happened to you, and because, like you said, you wouldn't be here today and doing and having this opportunity if it didn't happen to you.
Yeah,
And it's easy to go like, "Oh, I can't believe this happened to me," or
yeah,
if that didn't happen to me, I would be in this place. But everything genuinely does happen for a reason, and I really resonated with what you said there because sometimes like I do get lost in my own head and I go, oh, if I wasn't like this for all these years, I would be here, here, here. But at the same time,
yeah,
I wouldn't have the mindset that I do have. And I know if I just keep ticking off these daily habits every single day, time just hasn't caught up yet. And I am going to get there. And I feel like sometimes in life, it's so easy to be so fixated on this end goal. But the real goal is the journey and becoming the man that you need to be to get to where you are. And I do genuinely believe in life there is no light without dark. So that the attitude that you have is fantastic because that's going to take you places. And if you keep just pushing forward like that, it's just it's
100%.
inevitable what's going to happen for you. So tell me a little bit more. Obviously, the physical side of things, the gym is like a safe haven for you. Tell me, because one thing that I've noticed, and I feel like we spoke about a lot of negativity to do with sobriety and stuff, and but this is one of the cheat codes I think to sobriety, and I want to hear your opinion on this. Is there is just so much time in the day and you've got so much time in the year. You have 365 days of a new opportunity to do something to better yourself. So tell me a little
Yeah.
bit more about what you have noticed since you've went sober, what you've kind of like tried to pursue with all this time that you have.
So I think a massive thing for me since going sober is the relationships in my life. Even with my family, I mentioned on my Instagram through videos that I would have avoided going home to see my own parents because I was so anxious, so depressed, and so ashamed of what I had been doing all week that I couldn't have a face-to-face conversation with my parents. And even to say that out loud now, it sounds, it's crazy to say, but that's just how it is. Like, so I think I can really appreciate being present in the moment in any conversation now is what I've really taken from being sober. It's just unreal, like.
Yeah, I absolutely love that as well. But I didn't think you were going to come back with that answer, but I really like that because it's so true. Like I've even noticed my relationship with my own mom and my dad has just got so much better because at the time, like I always used to, my mom was always trying to tell me, Callum, you need to change, and I was like, oh, this woman's doing my head in, like
You
she
resent them, like, yeah,
yeah.
it's
I was like, she's just boring. And I always say to her now, like, Mom, I'm sorry because I just know like you had my best interests at heart, and like you were right,
yeah,
and that's the thing.
100%. And I'm in a very similar case. Like so my father went, he gave up alcohol about 14 years ago. So I feel like it was driven in me from a young age. I knew from a young age how alcohol can break a family, how it can break relationships. So thankfully, it was driven into me from a young age by my parents. So finally, I feel like I know I always had the respect, but finally, I feel like there's a true respect between me and my father and my mother at the moment. And it's the first time in my life, I suppose, I know 100% that my parents are proud of the man I'm becoming. And that to me is just, what more do you want in life? Like,
100%, and that's something like unfortunately my granddad passed away there a few months ago, and he was like one of the most important, in fact the most important person in my life. And sometimes like I get upset in my mind. I'm like, oh, I wish he was still here to see the person that I was becoming. But when I speak with my mum and stuff, she always says like, Callum, like he's seen the change in you a long time ago when like you decided to lock in and go sober, and I really went 2 feet in with personal development. And that in my heart makes me feel so happy because like what you just said there, it's to be in this situation. I'm not saying, whoa, look at me, like we're so special, but to kind of
of course,
be able to give up alcohol and really know in your heart that you've made the right decision, and it was really time to change. It's really not an easy thing to do.
no.
And that's fantastic to hear that you have that respect from your family as well, because
Yeah,
like, I really resonated with that. I feel the same. Like this is the last year or 2 years. It's like for the first time, I feel like my mum can say, "I'm proud of
yeah.
Callum." You know what I mean?
And
Because
it's
before,
there's no feeling like it. Like there's actually it doesn't compare to anything. But even relationships, like growing up with women, I couldn't get through the talking stage with a girl because they'd see my Snapchat story on the weekend and come Monday morning they wouldn't fucking reply. So like I finally built a perfect relationship with my girlfriend now at the moment, and it's something I could have never done if I was still drinking and partying every weekend. So just little things to be proud of, like, you know.
100%, and it's all those little wins, mate. They just snowball, and then you can bring them into your life, and it's just like like I constantly talk about it, like, and on my social media, I'm just obsessed with like habits and just getting little wins, because if these little wins just keep building up in your mind constantly, like it's just going to keep building up your confidence, or vice versa with the negative things where you keep saying you're going to do something and then you don't do it. You just keep letting that build,
Exactly.
and then you just kind of get to a stage. It's like, can I actually do the things that I say I'm going to do? And then the confidence is destroyed. So, a question that I really want to ask you is, this is something I think about a lot. I know we've kind of covered this already, but is there anything about this time in your life where you were kind of spiraling out of control with the bad habits that you regret, or is there anything that you would change about it?
It's something I reflect on an awful lot. Is like I'd love to be able to look back on the person I was and say, "Geez, I hate that fella. I regret the person I was. Why did I do that?" But as much as I want to, I simply can't. Like one thing I do worry about, or one thing I do regret, is putting my parents through worry when I was going out drinking every weekend, and they knew how low my mental health was. That's something that I do regret. But again, you can't live in the past. It's a learning curve, and as we said, they're proud now, and that's all that matters. But I wake up every morning and thank my past, as I said. Like without that, I wouldn't be where I am today. I wouldn't be inspiring young people to go sober. I wouldn't be getting messages from young lads asking for help. I wouldn't be giving out, inspiring help and all that stuff. Like so, look, I can't look back and regret it. I have to be thankful for everything that happened. So
100%. And tell me this: if you could go back to the Ben at 21 year old who was going down the wrong path, what's one piece of advice that you wish that you could give to him?
I would tell him, don't worry about things that might never happen, because behind this party boy persona that I had going on was a young lad that worried and was anxious about everything. I probably worried from the age of 5 onwards throughout school, worried about teachers, got into my teenager years, worried about getting friends, worried about losing friends, worried about getting a girlfriend, worried about losing the girlfriend. You name it, I've worried about it. And I'm sitting here today, everything has worked out through all the worry. And I ask myself every day, what's the point in living a life full of worry? There
100.
is no point. So I'm slowly learning every day to live in the present moment, enjoy the little things. And if you can live in the present moment, it's a beautiful place to be. So that's what I'm slowly learning, getting
Yeah,
there.
100%. Kind of similar to what I said before. It's just like everyone's so fixated on this end goal that they're always wanting to achieve, but the goal is the journey, and it's
Exactly.
about becoming that man daily that it takes to get to where you want to be. So just kind of like recapping on a few things, mental health and mindset seems to be an absolute massive thing for you. And
Mass-
I completely agree, because I just believe in life we all know what it takes to get to where we want to be, whether it's in your fitness, relationships, business goals. But what actually stops us there is our own mind and consistency. So I really believe that everything starts within here and building the habits to get us there. So tell me a little bit more about other habits that you're kind of implementing into your life, which aren't the gym, to kind of keep you occupied and away from going back to the old version of you.
Yeah, look, so a massive one is therapy, counseling, and it's something I like to talk about a lot over on my Instagram is promoting counseling, trying to end the stigma of young people going to counseling. Because, as I said, when I hit rock bottom in 2021, I simply refused to go see a professional. I found that me going to professional would really hit home that, oh fuck, I'm depressed. And I thought there was a massive stigma. Even the thought of me walking in the door of seeing a professional and someone I knew seeing me, I was completely ashamed by it. And thankfully, that has changed over this period of time. So a massive habit I've built into my life is going to see a therapist on a weekly basis, speaking through negative thoughts, speaking through the process of change. Because I'm sure you know, when you change your life in a 360, it's hard to adjust. Like as I said, I didn't know life before without drinking and partying every weekend. So it's a massive change to the mental health. And I just find that that was probably the best habit I've built into my life so far.
Yeah, I absolutely love that. And you know what it is as well, because there's just such a stigma these days about men's mental health, and
Yeah,
so many people, especially where we're from in Ireland, unfortunately, is just take their own life. And I feel like there's men are scared to talk and come like to the light and say, look, things aren't great. And you know, Paddy the Body, the UFC fighter, he
yeah,
I remember when he had a friend who committed suicide, and he obviously did like a bit of a campaign towards men's mental health, and he got so much love, and it was so good to see so many men come together and think about the same thing. But there was even idiots in the comments who were giving him negativity, and I don't understand where
yeah,
it is, because it's like it's even little things like this right now. We have never met in person, but we're look at this opportunity now. We're on a call, um, talking about things that we were struggling with. I'm taking little nuggets that I've learned from you. Hopefully, you're doing the same with me, and it's
100%. Yeah,
it's fantastic. And that's why, like, but if you never came to the realization that you had this problem and openly spoken about it, we wouldn't even have known about each other. So I feel like it's fantastic that that's something that you can admit, and I take my hat off to you as well. The fact that you're out there posting that on social media and being so honest about you were scared to go to a therapist and seeing someone that you know see you and be embarrassed, because
yeah,
why is that stigma built up that you should be embarrassed? If anything, people should be applauding you and taking their hat off to you, because like
exactly.
that's the way it should be. Is there anything else, other habits that you feel like you've been implementing into your schedule?
Yeah, just on that note you made there, I just feel like as men, we have this core belief that, or perception that we have to be strong. Like we are the caregivers. We can't break down. We can't cry. We can't be seen having mental health issues. So I feel like that's a massive problem. Why, like, men, as you said, negative comments. I could make a TikTok on men's mental health, and I could get a comment saying, "Here we go again with this mental health bullshit." But I can't resent that person. All I think is, this poor guy is struggling, and his way of venting is by leaving a negative comment on my video about mental health. So I privately text these people, say, look, is everything okay? Are you all okay? More often than not, you never get a reply, but look, it's worth a try. But I feel like that's like people that are struggling are going to leave the negative comments.
100%. And let's actually stay on this topic before we move on,
Of
because
course,
this
yeah,
is something, right? Honestly, when I first started posting on my social media and stuff, and was going out with the message of the mindset and pushing forward and doing the things that are adding value to your life and not taking away from it, I was so scared because I knew the negative hate was going to come, and it has came.
yeah,
And I've had comments. I've heard people. I've had people who have messaged me at like 11 o'clock at night, going in my message request, thinking that I've not seen it, sending me like ridiculous abuse, making fun of me for putting positive comments out to the world. Waking up the next morning at 6 a.m. and the message is gone, and that's because they're
yeah,
waking up and they're so embarrassed. I'm being brutally honest.
yeah,
They're probably sending that message while they're drinking or having some. They're off their heads on cocaine. And the thing is,
100%.
I resonate with this so much, and why I wanted to speak about this was because I understand where their mind is. Because once upon a time, I was that guy, and I used to look at some people who were doing extremely well. I'm going to shout someone out. Actually, my friend Jake McBride, and I remember when he decided to really turn his life around and go all in personal development. I was like, and he was posting on his Instagram. He was talking about positive things, mental health, his struggles, and I was looking at him and going, "Oh, this guy's an attention seeker. Why is he posting all this stuff out? Nobody cares." But when I do that deep inner work in my mind, I know I just wasn't ready to be served by that content yet. And in reality, I was throwing that light at him because I knew he was making me feel conscious about the problems that I had, and that's the only reason why
Yeah,
I ever give him hate. And every time I see him now, I always say, I tell him this story, and I say, "Bro, I am so proud of you," and I say, "Thank you so much," because you know what, I probably wouldn't even be in the position that I'm in today if it wasn't for him and stuff. He really helped me through a dark time, and yeah, and it's crazy. So it's like these people, I feel like you gotta just not let it affect you or affect your message,
no,
because I promise you, they will come around one time, and you don't want to be bitter.
100%. Everyone has their time, and look, it's just not their time. But as you said, getting messages at 5:30 and 6 o'clock in the morning. Would you believe this is my? It's probably the most popular time where I get messages off young lads asking for help is between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning. Obviously, after coming down off coke, coming down off whatever they're taking, and this is I can resonate with this. It was in the late hours of the morning when I was really thinking to myself, how am I going to do this much longer? And it's a very dark place to be. Like, you're coming down off drink or coming down whatever you're taking, and you're thinking to yourself, you're telling yourself you're a loser, you're telling yourself you've done it again, you're kicking yourself. And I just think it's like this is when men are really struggling, is when they're coming down off a substance and they don't know who to look to or who to turn to or what to even do. And there's just not enough boys like ourselves spreading awareness about it, and that's the issue.
100%. So tell me a little bit more then, obviously, about you've been posting on social media, you're helping people, spreading that positive message. If I was to ask you where you want to be in the next 3 to 6 months with your Instagram page, what would you tell me?
Look, as cliche as it sounds, Callum, if I can help one person on my Instagram, that makes my day. It makes my week. If one young lad texts me at 5:30 in the morning, asking for a bit of direction in his life, how does he stop taking coke? How does he stop drinking? And if I can give him some bit of support around this situation, then I'm satisfied with my Instagram. At the moment, I try my best not to think about views, likes, followers, because when I first started, I think I got hyper focused on it and it nearly started affecting my mental health. I actually took a week off it. So for me, if I can help one person every day or every week, then I'm satisfied with how my Instagram is going.
100%. And another question that I have for you is, if you could, I know you've already touched on it, if there is something that you could tell the people who give you the negative hate or negative comments towards your Instagram or page, what is something that you wish that you could tell them?
I wish I could tell them that admitting you might have a problem or a mental health issue is the first step. Because obviously, if you're leaving negative comments on someone's video or TikTok, you have something internal going on. But that's the problem again. People don't know how to even identify anxiety. They don't know how to identify depression because they're not knowledgeable enough on it. So I feel like if I could give one message to these people is to do a bit of self-work, see how you really are before you just get pissed on the weekend, and give yourself a chance to learn who you actually are.
100%. I've got two more questions for you. So tell me,
No
what would you
problem.
say is the best thing that has happened to you, like since going sober? And I know we've touched about on quite a few things of this, but what's just the one thing that you're so grateful for since you went sober?
See, it's hard to pick one. I would pick the relationship with my parents. That's just unmatched. Hearing your parents be truly proud of the person you're becoming is unreal. And I suppose just the overall decrease of anxiety, depression, negative thoughts. Like, I feel like I'm in control of my mind. Let's be honest, 90% of the time. Everyone has bad days. We're only human. And you can't kick yourself for having bad days. But I feel like I have to be grateful for the overall control I have of my own mind and my feelings since giving up alcohol. It's just been unbelievable.
I absolutely love that, and I hope you can resonate with this. And this is what I would say is my best thing about going sober. For me, I didn't actually realize that for how long I was a prisoner of my own mind. And when I talk about this topic, and I know there's a lot of people who look at me and they think I preach. Like I sit and get on like I think I'm better than other people because I've went sober. That is absolutely not true.
Oh,
The biggest thing for me is I just know that I am free in my own mind, and I wake up every day wanting to be the best version of myself. And if I could recommend any piece of advice to anyone, it would be like exactly what you said, would be to dive in deep into the personal development space and work on your health and your relationships. Because I really do, if you put a lot of focus and energy into those two things, it's going to reward you for the rest of your life and open up opportunities and that you never thought you were ever capable of achieving. So just to finish,
100%.
tell me a little bit more about, obviously, like you said, I do feel like there is a lack of people in this space who are kind of speaking about this sort of thing. Who is someone online who you really resonate with and you spend a lot of time like listening to their content?
Yeah, so you actually mentioned him off camera there, Daniel Dargan. So I had him as a PT, it must have been 2 years ago, less even a year and a half ago. And funny enough, he actually texted me and I told him what I want to do. I said, I give up alcohol, I want to start spreading awareness. And he sent me voice notes. He said, fuck it, just go for it. I told him I'm worried about what people are going to say about me. I'm worried, I'm in my own head, I'm too nervous to do it. And he probably sent me 4 to 5 motivational voice notes. And the next day I posted my first video. It got nearly 40,000 views, and since then I just had the motivation and the drive. I said, fuck this, I don't care what anyone thinks, and I'm just going to do what I need to do for me.
Unbelievable. Yeah, Daniel is a top guy, a very good friend of
Yeah.
mine who I know from my mentorship, and I had a great conversation with him in Marbella there a couple of weeks back on this
So
topic.
inspiring with his story as well. Like what he's been through is just, you can't not be inspired by it.
100%, and that's someone who really, really did the deep inner work and really went 2 feet in with personal development and is reaping all the rewards of it. He's
He's
absolutely smashing it.
living proof that it can be done.
Absolutely. So tell me, last thing. I know we've spoke about your Instagram page and things. I would love to do a part two of all the guests who I get on with, and because I really resonate with your story, and I want to do a part two with you definitely in 6 to 12 months. What are some
100%.
things that you want to by the next time we catch up that you will have wanted to achieve by then?
So I would love to continue to inspire young people to go alcohol free. I think it's a different world, and I'd like to show that as much as I can. Hopefully, in the next 6 months, I have another few podcasts done. Thankfully, this is my first podcast, and what a way to kick it off, only with yourself. So, I would love, along the line, maybe not 6 months, I would love to have like a social group, a sober social group of young men that can meet on a weekly basis and talk about mental health issues, go for a coffee, go for a swim, and just like motivate each other to do well in life.
100%.
That's a big goal of mine.
And I know you're going to do it. And mate, I can't believe this is your first podcast. You've been a fantastic guest, and I've really, really enjoyed it.
Appreciate it, man.
And hopefully, some people can watch this, and it's going to really put the nail in the coffin that they know that they've got to change now. But listen, Ben, thank you so much. That was an absolute banger, and I'm looking forward for part 2.
100%. It's been an absolute pleasure, Callum. Thanks a million.
Thank you so much.